this story from, oh, and then after they had killed the family and drank their blood and ate their meat and all of that, they would, obviously, they would take all their goods, and then they would travel to where they had described that they were going. So the Khazarians would then take all this information they had got from them after they had gotten them drunk and filled with hallucinogenic medicines. They take that information, they take all their goods, and they would sell them to posing as that family, posing with the names and everything of that family. So the folks in the West thought it was the same folks they had been communicating all this time that were in China. And so this is how they would put on disguises. The Khazarian mafia became very adept at putting on disguises and taking on a different role and a new name. And by doing that, you could then coerce even more people by posing that you're this helpful, caring individual, but really you're this sadistic murderer. And folks have no idea that you're the serial killer because you're so adept at putting on all these different costumes. And what do we see here in Dylan Monroe's map that he gave? Costumes. These groups have just simply been wearing costumes just like the ancient Khazarians did in Khazaria. They simply put on a costume of these, in this case, this helpful group that would help this family. And nowadays you have a government that poses as this helpful government, or a medical institution that poses as this helpful institution, or this religious group that poses as this helpful institution. And on the outside, and the mirage is that they're this helpful, human-oriented, compassionate, love-centered group that is there to totally help society, and we are the ones, or the caregivers, and we're going to help everybody. But behind that curtain is this sadistic murderer. And that's what we see in our governments now. That's what we see in the medical systems. Look at the medicine they use to treat people. They poison people to quote-unquote heal them. And it's the same thing with religion. They get people to believe certain characteristics about themselves, which poisons them. And then they offer them the only solution, which is the religious belief system. And it's the same with medicine. You pose this disease that they're going to get, and then you pose the only solution, which is this particular elixir that you inject. And it's the same thing with government. They pose as this helpful group, and after we have this war, you're going to have this peaceful society. It's going to be awesome because we're like this helpful society. When really all the government is doing is instigating war, as much as the medical institution is instigating disease, and as much as the spiritual institutions, the religious institutions, are instigating a degraded view of oneself, a compromised view of one's creative force, you see? And it's the same pattern of deception as what was going on with Esau and Jacob, as what was going on with the Khazarians and these people that traveled through, and as what was going on with Kurth Barker and his involvement with CP and the Luciferians that were talking to him. All these people are doing the same thing, posing as kind, humanitarian people, but they're vicious murderers. They're the exact antithesis of what they claim to be. And this is how you know this is the situation now that we've been in for over 10,000 years, is because it's the same patterns. It's the same patterns of harm. It's the same patterns of destruction that have been permeating our society since the very beginning.